let's learn how to make easy 3-ingredient ginger beer.
Woo! Oh my goodness.
To make our ginger beer, it's super simple. All you need is 3 main ingredients. You need ginger, sugar, and water. That's it. I'm also going to be adding some lemon juice to mine because it adds a nice kick, and then I'll be adding a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of ground cayenne. Now, if you don't have these 3 ingredients, you don't have to add them, but if you do have some lemons lying around or some lemon juice, or if you have some cinnamon, then you can add those and it adds a really fun flair. If you don't have cayenne, what you can do is you can just add some chili flakes if you would like a little bit of spice, but if you don't want that spice to your ginger beer, don't add the cayenne or chili flakes. Remember how I said you need ginger, sugar, and water? Well, to make our ginger beer carbonated, we are going to be using a ginger bug. And guess what the 3 ingredients are? Ginger, sugar, and water. It's really simple to make. Lots of people send you to a separate video if you want to know how to make it. I'm not going to do that. It's really easy to make a ginger bug. To make your ginger bug, take a mason jar like this, fill it about to here with water, and then you're going to take some ginger. You're going to grate it with the skin on. It needs the skin for the natural yeast to actually ferment. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add sugar. The first day you're going to add 2 scoops of ginger, 2 scoops of sugar, about a tablespoon. I just use a normal spoon, scoop some in. And then every single day after that, you're going to add a scoop of ginger and a scoop of sugar and give it a stir. You're going to do that for about 5 days until when you twist it, you start to see bubbles coming up. You might even see some of your ginger off the bottom rise and float. So if your ginger bug's pulling a levitation act, don't worry, that's normal. To cover this, what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 paper towels, you're going to fold them so you make like a little hat for your thing, and then you're going to take your jar lid, put it on, and just kind of get it on there to where it's a not so good seal. You still want air to be able to get there, but you don't want it to get dirty, and you don't want it to just be totally open. And after 5 days, you'll have a ginger bug that's got tons of bubbles. And you can keep reusing this. Every time you make a soda or ginger beer, what you do is just leave a little bit of liquid in the bottom, top it up with liquid, add some more sugar, and you'll revitalize it. If you go a stretch where you know you're not going to make any sort of drinks with it, what you do is cover it and put it in your fridge. Putting it in your fridge will slow down the fermentation, make sure this doesn't over ferment, and then you can keep using it over and over again. If you want to use it, take it out of your fridge, add some sugar to it, stir it up. The next day, it should be ready for you to use. Start off our recipe, you're going to need about 4 cups of water or a liter of water. 4 cups is pretty close to a liter, and we're not dealing with exact math here. And then we are also going to need roughly 200 grams of ginger. If you have 210, that's fine. 220, that's fine. You just want roughly, this is 201, so that is a perfect amount. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this ginger, we're going to lightly wash it, and then we're going to throw it into the blender. Now, you don't need to peel this. You really don't. The skin will not hurt you at all. We will be straining this, so you don't need to peel it at all. It's just way more work. Once your ginger is washed, go ahead and break it into pieces and throw it into your blender. And then we're going to add some water, and we're going to absolutely pulverize this. And then we're going to throw it on the burner and get it at a nice little simmer here. Add some water, so enough to where it'll blend. There we go. And then blend that puppy. And if we wait for some of the bubbles to die down, everything in there is totally shredded and just totally pulverized. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on a burner. Pour our ginger into a pan. Again, it's all mushed up, which is exactly what we want. And then we're going to add the rest of our water back in. Sometimes blending it, it can have a little bit of a hard time if there's too much water, so just make sure not to add too much water. And then now is a good time to where you can add some of your cinnamon and cayenne. We're gonna get this on a simmer, so you probably want a medium-high heat with your cinnamon. If you have cinnamon sticks, you can use that and just pull them out at the end. I don't, I just have cinnamon powder, so we are just gonna do a light dusting over the top, and I think that's probably good. Don't really wanna do too much. And then with cayenne, again, with the cayenne, there you go. There you go. I don't want you to do too much. If you like spice, that's great. I like spice, but I will be sharing this with people who do not like spice. So if you're sharing this with people in your life that don't like spice, don't use too much, but I'm just using a little bit. If you're adding lemon juice, do not add this until the end, once it is cooled down. If you add it when it is boiling or before it is like simmering, you're not gonna taste this. I don't know what it does, but for some reason, if you like boil this with everything else in there, you don't get any of the flavor. And you can't even tell you put it in there. So we're gonna add this after the fact so you can actually taste this. Go ahead and grab yourself a little spoon, incorporate all that cinnamon and your cayenne or your chili flakes, and then we're gonna let this simmer for a little bit. Oh, I actually forgot, we need to add some sugar. I'm gonna be adding about 1/4 cup of sugar. This is going to make it sweet. We'll also be adding some sugar in the bottle for carbonation. And the longer you let your ginger beer sit and carbonate, the less sugary it will be. So if you want to dry your ginger beer, then you let it sit long so you can kind of judge how long you want yours to ferment. But we're going to add about 1/2 cup of sugar. You can use other sweeteners too if you want to use stevia or xylitol. That works too. The ginger bug won't eat the sugar, it won't eat the xylitol or the stevia, whereas it will eat this, but if you add enough, it will, and you take it out soon enough, you won't have a problem with that. Again, you just want to get that mixed in. And then we're going to let this simmer for a few minutes. Let all of those flavors get infused. Let that ginger leach out into the water and let the cinnamon get all incorporated. Also, I cannot stress this enough. Do not add your ginger bug at this point. Do not add it. And we will not be adding our ginger bug to this liquid until it has cooled down. If you add this ginger bug to it while it is still hot, you will kill off all the yeast in here and you're not going to have any fermentation happening. So you need to make sure it is cooled down, cool to touch, like it can be lukewarm, but you do not want this thing hot in any way, shape, or form. Now that we've brought this up to a simmer, we have to let this simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to need to strain it. Now there's a couple methods that you can use to strain it. I'm going to be using a coffee filter. This is called a V60. You put your coffee grounds up here, you put water in, it drains down. We're going to be using the same thing. I'm using a little paper filter. You can use a cheesecloth. I just hate cleaning cheesecloths. If I never have to do that again in my lifetime, that'll be fine. I'm gonna have to. I already know I will end up cleaning more cheesecloths, but I don't like it. So if I don't have to, I'm not gonna do it. If you have like a normal drip coffee maker, you can do that too. Although you're running hot liquid over the plastic, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. This one is all glass except for this part on the outside that holds it to the top, but none of the liquid's touching that. So, booyah. So we're gonna let this all filter through here. Now this will take some time, so be patient with it. It's fine. Let it strain through. And then once it has cooled down, we will be able to add our optional lemon juice if you would like, and then we can start getting our bottles ready for carbonation. I just gave our little liquid here a little taste, and it is not sweet enough. I would like this to be kind of like a ginger ale, kind of sweet. If you just want a really dry ginger beer, you can do that too. But I want this to be a little sweeter, which means we need to add some more sugar. So what I'm going to do is the ginger bug is filtering through right here, and I'm just going to add some sugar directly into that bottom part, and all the hot liquid will dissolve it. So I might add another 1/4 cup. Granted, for all the people wondering, saying that's going to be a ton of sugar, this is spread over 2 bottles, and then also the ginger bug is going to eat a lot of that sugar. So you want to add, probably a little more than you think, especially if you would like it to be a little sweet. Alrighty, this is the liquid that we made right here, and this is what we're going to be adding to our bottles. It is just barely lukewarm, which means we can add all of our other ingredients. As well right here, this was all the ginger pulp that we made. I stuck it on a baking dish. I'm going to stick it in the oven, and I'm going to see if you can make some sort of kind of ginger candy. You're supposed to be able to. We'll see if it actually works and if it actually tastes good. Now what we need to do here is add some ginger bug to our bottle. So we're going to be adding about 1.5 inches of ginger bug. My ginger bug is pretty strong, so it should work with that much. But yeah, 1.5 inches to about 2 inches. If you add less than that, it doesn't work. The first time I made any sort of pop with a ginger bug, I didn't add enough, and it didn't ferment, and then I had to add more ginger bug, and it took a lot longer than it was supposed to. So I'm going to use a little strainer because I've got lots of ginger bits in mine. Do a little more. Oops, spilling everywhere. There you go, that's good. And then now we'll move over to our other bottle and do the same here. Just throw that ginger back in there, and then there's still a little bit of liquid in here, so I'm going to just fill it with water, some more sugar, and get that working again. There's a little less in this one, but that will be a-okay. Now is the time where if you want to add your lemon juice, now is the time to add it. I'm just going to add a little splash, a little more. There we go. That should be good. If you actually have actual lemons, add some lemon zest. That would be awesome in here. I don't have any actual lemons right now. I just got the lemon juice. So now that we have this right here, what we're going to do is we're going to take our funnels and we're going to fill these up. But we want to add a little. We want to leave a little room at the very, very top Otherwise, these things will explode like rockets. So leave a little room at the top. Ooh, that one is not very full. That's fun. Like sugar and stuff at the bottom. So we're just gonna add a little more water to this one. Not quite enough in this one. So what I'm gonna do for this one is I'm gonna brew a cup of just black tea, and we're gonna add black tea to that one. Black tea is an amazing base for sodas. So we're gonna I'm gonna do a thing of black tea, and then we'll fill that one up too. For my ginger bug, I just added a little bit of water here, and then I'm gonna grab a spoon, and I'm just gonna add about 2 scoops of sugar and give it a swirl. And then I'm gonna let this sit for about a day, and it should be pretty much revived. And then from that point, if you want to use it again, you can use it again. Or if you are going to take a little break from making sodas, a couple days, then just go ahead and put it in the fridge. But yeah, we're going to do that here. And now it is ready to go. Now we're gonna let this completely cool before we add it to here. I'm gonna add some ice cubes to it. Oh, also, if you see some sedimentation in here, well, that's normal. You're not gonna taste it. There's not really much of a texture to it. It's really, really fine. So that's totally normal. You just wanna, kind of shake it up before you drink it, or stir it once you put it in your cup. So I'm gonna add some ice to this and cool it down before I add it to this. This black tea has completely cooled, so we are just going to add it to the very top of our thing. Spill some on the floor for good measure. And we'll stop right about there. And I have a little swig of black tea left for me. Clean your tea up off the floor. And bada bing, bada boom. Now we can bottle up this one. Give it a little shake. And now we're gonna let these things sit. Label your things, label your things. Without the labels, you can't really tell which is which. This one's slightly darker, but label your stuff. I use the top of sticky notes. It works really well. You can also use masking tape. A lot of these bottles come with permanent labels, but I don't like those because I'm not just doing one thing in these bottles. So label your stuff so you know what it is. Now I'm gonna let this sit for a couple days. I'm thinking it might take 2 days. If it was summer, it might take only 1 day, but it is currently February here in Arkansas. So we're gonna be letting these sit in a dark area for about 2 days, and every single day, about twice a day, what I'm gonna come and do is I'm gonna burp the bottles. And what that means, I'm gonna come to the bottle and just do that, just to let out a little bit of the fizz. And then it lets you check how much fizz there is in your bottle. So if after 1 day of me burping them, and I'll probably burp them about twice a day, if after 1 day it's seeming like, ooh, that's a lot of carbonation, then what I'll do is I'll let them sit for a couple more hours, and then I'll put them in the fridge. If you don't put them in the fridge, they're gonna explode on you. You need to put them in the fridge, and then you put them in the fridge, and then we will test these puppies out. Well, the ginger beer has been sitting in the cabinet for 2 days now, and when I burped them last night, there was a lot of fizz and went psh, so it was carbonated enough for my liking. I put them back in the cabinet until the morning when I stuck them in the fridge. Now they've been sitting in the fridge for a couple hours, so let's open these babies up and see how they taste. Nice carbonation here. Woo! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's really fizzy. Help! Wow, well, very fizzy. I got a little taste there, and that tastes really good. I think half my ginger beer's on the counter, but hey, well, that right there. This is the normal ginger beer. This is not the one with the black tea. It's the normal ginger beer. That is really good. It's a really good, it's still got a good amount of sweetness, and yet it's got a really, it just tastes really good. Solid ginger beer. I think this goes without saying, if you don't like ginger, you're not gonna like this. But if you don't like ginger, you can still make the ginger bug and make it to make other sodas. It doesn't have a ginger taste. That is good. All right, let's open the other one and see how it tastes. And let's try not to spill as much of it on the counter. Alrighty, this is the second black tea and ginger beer. It was half ginger beer and half black tea. Not quite as much carbonation on the other one, but that might not be a bad thing. Get a nice pour there. Yeah, not quite as fizzy, but that might not be bad. This one's slightly darker than the other one. Let's give it a taste. Ooh, that one's good. So it has slight. You can taste kind of the black tea. It's got slightly different taste. It's not quite as ginger forward. Yeah, there's a little bit of almost bitterness from the black tea. This one has maybe a little more depth. It was really good. Well, if you don't have enough, if you only have like half, if you only have enough ginger beer to make half a bottle, add some black tea, and it's really good. I might like that one even more. Well, if you've enjoyed learning how to make gingerbread, check out the video right up here where I show you how to make homemade soda.